One day I came home from school and I took my turban off. And I went to my dad and I said, Dad, 3 of my friends got a haircut, and they look very good and they're very comfortable. That is very difficult, And my dad looked at me and he gave me that one look and I got my answer. I was emotional. I was sad. I went back next day. I kept my turban on. In 11th grade, a friend of mine came to me, a good friend, I should say, and he changed my world forever. He shook me up. Actually, he helped me prepare for what was coming 20 years, 30 years later. Now, remind you, this is Punjab, India, a land where you can see a lot of turbans. Almost 50% of people are Sikhs, my faith. And in our faith, we don't wear turban to show off. We wear it because it's part of our identity. Because we have long hair, so Sikh men wear turban to remind themselves that they are wearing an artifact to help others when they need help, to carry their life on responsibly. And this friend of mine came up to me that day and he said, quote unquote, people with turban are terrorists. That was the first time somebody had called me a terrorist. About a dozen times I've been called since, but that was the first time I heard. And as a child in 11th grade, it shakes you up. I'm going to tell you, my friend was son of a famous heart surgeon in the city. So he came from a good background, but does damage to you. It impacts you. It makes you question your identity. Is something wrong with you? Should I change it? So there was one issue I'm having is speech impediment. People are laughing when I'm speaking. Teachers are telling me it's a failure. Now I got a new impediment, that is I'm also a terrorist. So a terrorist who stutters. People judge you, I learned. People question you, I learned. I see that when I mediate today. The very first few minutes I spent with my parties, with the attorneys involved, I had to kind of tell them who I am. And sometimes I get this very first judgment. Can this guy speak English? Can this guy be a danger? Trust me, when you enter a plane full of people wearing a turban, that's when you realize it. That you have a look that's distinct. Now, hold on, that's all it is, right? Look. You have a look that's distinct, but it hits people hard. I was in a Minnesota State Fair at one time and a young woman comes up to me and says, are you connected to this famous terrorist? And this was not the proudest day of my life because I went back to her and I said, no, I'm not. And this fair would not be the same if I was. I'm embarrassed what I told her. And I want to be vulnerable with you to tell you that it took me years to figure out how to tackle such an emotional statement. When somebody comes up to you and rips your life apart in one statement, you don't go back to them and you tell them you're wrong. You don't tell them shut up. You don't tell them if I was, you'll be dead. You don't say any of those. You don't even walk away. You don't have to be just only mad. You can be polite. You can come to a space, you can come to a place, you can come to a mental state where you can look at them and you can think, they do not know me and it's okay. And you can forgive them at that moment, at that very precise moment and say, I'm sorry you have that impression. I am not. I'm just a family man. I'm a mediator. I'm trying to make my living. It happens to those of us, my Jewish brothers and sisters, my Muslim sisters, my African American friends, my Asian friends. It happens to all of us. How our looks play a role on us. It's happening to white men and women now, right? They have become a target. It's happening to each one of us in their own ways. So in some ways, I'm representing all of you through that story. One time in my law school, I had a very difficult presentation. I spoke in front of a large group of students and many of them in the back row started laughing when I stuttered heavily. But I observed there were few students, my classmates, my friends who were sitting in the front or second row who did not laugh, who looked at